Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Sid Alpha and welcome to Line of Sight, the exclusively Bacon Weekly News Roundup, and it's been another interesting week in the world of video games where people have laughed, they have cried, and many of them have consumed bacon while doing so. Yes, bacon, the food that makes all other foods better, the food that makes food worth having, bacon. Whether it be baked, fried, deep fried, chopped, crushed, or served whole, bacon is the supreme porcine product, hashtag not sponsored by bacon. Also, if you enjoyed these videos, then please remember to drop a like and comment to help win the uphill battle against the YouTube algorithm. And if you're interested in more top-notch gaming news, don't forget to pay a visit to exclusivelygames.com. Link is in the description below. Oh, also, yeah, subscribing helps too, and ringing the bell because YouTube doesn't like to recommend videos. I'll keep thinking up more ways to make this as complicated as possible, but I don't think even I could outdo YouTube on that score. And that said, let's go ahead and get started with why we're all really here. For this week, we have Valve admitting to a mistake when they turned away a researcher that reported a vulnerability with the Steam client. YouTube is suing a man over his abuse of the DMCA system in order to scam money and allegedly swat one YouTuber, and multiple Twitch streamers have been banned following DMCA takedowns over the Starladder Major CSGO 2019 tournament. And now that we're all queued up, let's get started. Security in an online world is an ever-moving goalpost that is, by its very nature, a combination of proactive and reactive actions, from fixing bugs to patching out security vulnerabilities to protecting against viruses or other intrusions. The field of security is one that very few are experts in. As such, many companies like Valve offer up bounties to, quote, white-hat hackers in order to help keep their platforms as secure as possible. These hackers conduct sanctioned intrusion attempts in order to locate points of vulnerability so they can be either mitigated or eliminated before a bad guy doing bad things figures out they exist. However, what happens when a critical vulnerability is detected, as is the case with Valve's Steam client, and Steam refuses to listen? Well, that is the issue that Vasily Kravitz ran into, and is why earlier this month he released a paper outlining what this vulnerability is, how it allows, through the use of the Steam client, local system privileges for any application running through it. This, for all intents and purposes, grants complete and total access to your computer, which can be used for whatever a bad guy doing bad things could ever want. Install viruses, keyloggers, ransomware, crypto miners, whatever you can think of. In his posting, he released this timeline of events. On June 15th, the vulnerability was reported to HackerOne. One day later, the report was marked as out of scope due to, quote, attacks that require the ability to drop files in arbitrary locations on the user's file system. On the same day, Kravitz reopened the ticket with additional comments. Then on July 2nd, the vulnerability was confirmed by HackerOne staff and was submitted for remediation. Then on July 20th, it was marked as out of scope yet again. And on August 7th, Kravitz disclosed the vulnerability to the public. Kravitz continued that after he ended up disclosing the vulnerability to the public, Valve made attempts to fix the vulnerability, but the fix could apparently be easily bypassed, and as of August 15th, a researcher provided a method of bypassing the latest patch, so the security vulnerability is still active. Now, in response to this situation, Valve have released a statement to multiple traditional media platforms. We are also aware that the researcher who discovered the bugs was incorrectly turned away through our HackerOne bug bounty program, where his report was classified as out of scope. This was a mistake. Our HackerOne program rules were intended only to exclude reports of Steam being instructed to launch previously installed malware on a user's machine as that local user. Instead, misinterpretation of the rules also led to the exclusion of a more serious attack that also performed local privilege escalation through Steam. We have updated our HackerOne program rules to explicitly state that these issues are in scope and should be reported. In the past 2 years, we have collaborated with and rewarded 263 security researchers in the community, helping us identify and correct roughly 500 security issues, paying out over $675,000 in bounties. We look forward to continuing to work with the security community to improve the security of our products through the HackerOne program. In regards to the specific researchers, we are reviewing the details of each situation to determine the appropriate actions. We aren't going to discuss the details of each situation or the status of their accounts at this time. And indeed, Valve have updated their defined scope for the HackerOne program to allow for, quote, any case that allows malware or compromised software to perform a privilege escalation through Steam without providing administrative credentials or confirming a UAC dialog is in scope. So, while the HackerOne program will no longer churn away massive security vulnerabilities such as this one, I know I'm not alone in wondering when Valve will manage to patch out this particular vulnerability. Now, our next story surrounds YouTube and the DMCA. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act was introduced in the late 90s at the behest of the music industry in order to combat peer-to-peer sharing services like Napster and Kazaa by providing a legal framework for copyright holders to address claims of online copyright infringement. The DMCA is a legal framework that is considered woefully out of date by today's standards and as such has seen its own fair share of abuses in recent years. And to that end, YouTube is actually suing one man for abusing the DMCA takedowns for the purposes of extorting money from YouTubers, and in one instance, YouTube alleges that the man used the information he gained from a spurious DMCA takedown to swat a YouTuber. On August 19th, YouTube filed a lawsuit against one Christopher Brady, in which they outlined Brady's alleged actions. In it, they cite 3 Minecraft YouTubers who go by Kenzo, ObiRaids, spelled with a Z, and whatever the hell that name is supposed to be. Calvin, Sizzle Vixen, Kixel Vixen? I have no idea. I also have to include that I myself did discuss the attempts to extort ObiRaids on my YouTube channel in my video titled YouTube DMCA Takedown Strikes Now Being Used to Extort Content Creators. Bit of a long-winded title, but it was accurate. Now, in the court document, YouTube outlines one such extortion attempt that was also disclosed by ObiRaids via Twitter back in late January of this year, in which it states, "Hi Obi, we striked you. Our request is $150 PayPal or $75 Bitcoin. You may send the money via goods and services if you do not think we will cancel or hold up our end of the deal. But once we receive payment, we will cancel both strikes on your channel. If you decide not to pay us, we will file a third strike. We'll give you a very short amount of time to make your decision." Brady also contacted the YouTuber Kenzo, demanding $300 via PayPal or $200 worth of Bitcoin to rescind the spurious DMCA strikes on their channel. And in summation, here are the allegations being made by YouTube. On at least 24 occasions, defendant Brady sent YouTube notices of alleged copyright infringement pursuant to the DMCA that contained knowing and material misrepresentations that videos posted by third parties to the YouTube service infringed his supposed copyrights. YouTube, the service provider that received defendants' bogus notifications of alleged infringement, relied upon defendants' misrepresentations, removing or disabling access to the material defendant falsely claimed to be infringing. Defendant Brady has gone to great lengths to hide his unlawful conduct using at least 15 different online identities, all of which YouTube traced back to him. Defendant Brady's abusive behavior has caused YouTube to expend substantial sums on its investigation in an effort to detect and halt that behavior and to ensure that its users do not suffer adverse consequences from it. Defendant Brady has demonstrated that his abusive behavior will continue if left unchecked. In part because of Brady's constant attempts to mask his identity, YouTube may be unable to detect and prevent similar misconduct in the future. Injunctive relief is necessary to prevent irreparable harm to YouTube and to its users. In addition to that, the third YouTuber whose name I have no knowledge of its proper pronunciation, but I will call Sizzle Vixen because that's just fun to say, had their own special difficulties with this particular extortionist. Sizzle Vixen was apparently engaged in some form of Twitter dispute with Brady, where Brady had allegedly submitted spurious DMCA strikes for the sole purpose of gaining Sizzle Vixen's home address. It is then alleged that 6 days after Sizzle Vixen submitted their counter notification, they were swatted. YouTube alleges in this filing that Brady conducted the swatting using the personal information obtained from the spurious DMCA. Of course, innocent until proven guilty, but if found guilty, then Christopher Brady was one of, if not the pioneer, for a whole new and terrifying level of abuse when it comes to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, especially given how monumentally dangerous swatting is. Now, our last story for the day also involves alleged copyright abuse that, while many channels are reporting on this issue and arguments are being made on both sides in regards to the validity of the DMCA takedowns in question, it would seem that this is old ground that has already been tread by the Dota 2 community. Recently, it was reported that several Twitch streamers saw their accounts banned due to DMCA takedowns over streaming the CSGO Tournament Starladder Berlin 2019. It would seem these streamers were live casting the GoTV streams of the tournament, which is the in-app live stream on Steam. However, regardless of where these Twitch streamers were getting their feed, Starladder has been filing DMCA takedowns against them, and per Dextero.com, the streamers affected by this that have been banned as a result are on your screen now, although it is being updated that some of these streamers, denoted by an asterisk, have had their bans rescinded. The tournament organizers have also made certain that within their official rules and regulations, quotes, all broadcasting rights of Starladder Major 2019 are owned by the Starladder Limited. This includes, but is not limited to, video streams, e.g. POV streams, radio streams, GoTV, replays, demos, or TV broadcasts. However, per Tom Pickering, who goes by Route Masters on Twitch, he posted a query to Valve on April of 2018 asking if there would be any issue with such a stream, to which Steam support replied with, "You're free to cast over games that are taking place whether they're at the majors or not. Any content that is being broadcast through GoTV can be rebroadcast or commented over if you'd like." And while Starladder would beg to differ, as I said, this is ground that has already been tread in January 2018's issue surrounding ESL Genting and Dota 2, where this exact same issue was being faced, where Valve was streaming the tournament on the Steam service and streamers were rebroadcasting with commentary the ESL Genting tournament. To that end, Valve released a statement on the Dota 2 blog that clarified things in no uncertain terms. That statement read, "We've been seeing a bunch of discussion regarding Dota TV and want to expand on what we've said before. The first issue we've been seeing discussed is regarding DMCA notices. This one is very simple. No one besides Valve is allowed to send DMCA notices for games streamed off of Dota TV that aren't using the broadcaster's unique content, camera movements, voices, etc. The second issue is regarding who is permitted to cast off of Dota TV. We designed the Dota TV guidelines to be flexible in order to allow for up-and-coming casters or community figures like BSJ or Bulldog that occasionally watch tournament games on their channel to be able to stream off of Dota TV. It is not to allow commercial organizations like BTS to compete with the primary stream. It'll be our judgment alone on who violates this guideline and not any other third parties." And the reason behind this is because Valve owns both the game and the streaming service in question, whereas Starladder merely has a license for CSGO. They do not own the copyright in this instance, which would make the DMCA strikes against the Twitch streamers spurious in nature. And while no one is claiming any form of malicious intent behind these actions, many hope for a swift remedy to the Twitch streamers that have been affected. And specifically in regards to the Dota 2 incident, the ESL ended up actually issuing an apology and retracted all of their false DMCA takedowns. So it is the hopes of many that Starladder will see fit to do the same. But that's all the time we have for you on this week's Line of Sight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope the video was informative and at least a bit entertaining. If you enjoyed it, please do let me know down in the comments below. I am a YouTuber after all, and I survive on accolades. If you would like to hear more from me on topics such as these, consider checking me out on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/SidAlpha. I hope to see you there. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sid Alpha, and I'll see you next time.